welcome. My name is Brianna Santoro. I'm the founder of thenakedlabel.com, and today we are up to some really awesome stuff. We are going to be making one of the recipes out of the cookbook. It is on page 126, and this is from Get Naked in the Kitchen. It is the Easy Mac and Cheese, and this is such a cool recipe because it is gluten-free. We're going to be using some brown rice noodles, and it is dairy-free. And today we're here with Marni Wasserman, a really good friend of mine. We're in Toronto at her food studio and lifestyle shop, and this is just honestly one of the coolest spots in Toronto for you to come, learn about plant-based eating, learn how to cook and to not cook. We use dehydrators here as well, which is super awesome. And so I just want to tell you a little bit about Marni. First of all, she has this incredible book out called Fermenting for Dummies. I own this book. I absolutely love it. Tell us a little bit about why we should be eating fermented foods.
Fermented foods are loaded with probiotics, enzymes. They help boost immunity, help with overall digestion. So they really just help. They're pre-digested. So when you add them to your meals, you are maximizing full absorption, and they taste good. So, and they're so versatile in terms of flavor. They add some tanginess to your meal. Some of them are sour, some of them are sweet. So there's so many, it just goes on, the nutritional benefits.
Yeah, and I find too, like when you're looking for fermented foods these days, typically you get the standard ones. You get sauerkraut, you might be able to find kimchi, but there's so many other different options. I mean, of course, yogurt, but there's so many options, and that's what I love about this book is you really go through so many different things.
Yeah,
so this is a great resource. And also too, digestion, you mentioned it. I mean, digestion is really where it all starts. We eat food, it goes through our digestive system, and it has to be assimilated into the body. So we have to make sure that we're optimizing that, and this really helps us to do that, is eating these fermented foods.
Absolutely, just a little bit. All you need is a small amount, couple tablespoons added to any meal that you're eating, and it just helps boost digestion.
Yeah, amazing.
And probiotics, so natural form of probiotics, no supplements needed, you get it right from the food. So
incredible. Now tell everybody who's watching why probiotics are so great. What are they?
They are the good bacteria that our gut and that our body needs, so the more we can get of them, the more in our diet we can get, the more things can be pushed out. So typically through environmental toxins, through antibiotics, medications, our gut is so weakened and doesn't have the good beneficial bacteria. So if we can reconstitute it and replenish it with the good flora, optimal elimination, we feel good, we feel more energized, and we're just moving things through our body much better.
Fantastic. These are the friendly bacteria.
The friendly bacteria.
Love them.
Absolutely.
That's awesome. So you may know here by Marni's awesome shirt, the plant-powered shirt. It's so fitting.
Yeah.
So tell us a bit about your philosophy on food, because one of the cool things about this cookbook is that there's so many experts involved, and we all have different philosophies on food, but we can really live within one cookbook because it really comes down to whole natural foods.
Absolutely.
And then within that space, we have our own passion. So tell us about yours.
My passion is plant-based food. So that means that no matter where you are in your diet and in your lifestyle, adding in more plants, whole foods, unprocessed foods is the optimal way. So green leafy vegetables, nuts and seeds, whole grains, beans, and I really do promote that type of lifestyle. So that's what comprises the base of my lifestyle, my diet.
Yeah, amazing. And so tell us some of the benefits when we eat plants. What do we get from plants? How do they help us, and how do they help our health and our nutrition?
Well, we get everything from plants. We get all the macronutrients, protein, complex carbohydrates, good essential fats, and of course all the vitamins and minerals. All the colors that are in plant-based foods are what's loaded with all those natural vitamins, phytonutrients, minerals. So for optimal absorption, as well as energy, vitality, digestion, all those things. So, and they help boost health, and they help to prevent all kinds of diseases, and we can sleep better, we might lose weight, whatever it is that your goals are, they have, depending on which ratio, which proportion of plant-based foods that you choose to eat, it can help you achieve your goals.
Amazing.
Absolutely.
I find so many times one of the biggest questions people say to me is, well, what about the protein? You know, where am I getting protein if I'm not eating animal products? And the cool thing about plants is you actually can get tons of protein from plants as well. So if they're looking to optimize protein in their diet, they're not eating, animal products, and they're worried about that, tell us about some of the foods that contain protein in the plant kingdom.
Absolutely. So beans, of course, beans and legumes, anything from chickpeas to fermented soybeans, such as tempeh, quinoa. A lot of the grains do, but quinoa is one of the highest. We've also got nuts and seeds loaded, and green leafy vegetables also loaded with protein. So we might not look at that as a protein source, but that trace amount of amino acids is plentiful in those sources as well too.
Perfect.
Yeah.
All right. Now tell us too, you have another book coming out.
I do.
Also about plant-based living.
Plant-based for Dummies coming out in spring 2014. So it will be a nice guideline for people who might be looking to transition to a plant-based diet or just looking to lean into it, whatever it might be. And it's a step-by-step way of approaching that lifestyle along with some fabulous recipes.
Yeah,
So.
and you know, even if you are a meat eater, incorporating a day or a couple of days during the week that's plant-based can really boost your overall health. So
Exactly.
everybody should be interested in how can we incorporate more plants into our diet.
Right.
So speaking about plants,
Yes.
let's talk about this amazing recipe, which is one
Yes.
of my favorites in the book because I mean, you know, we like our comfort foods.
Yes.
When we go healthy, we don't want to have to give up on everything that, you know, there are those cheap foods that we think about. So we can actually have them, but in a nutritious way. And that's what today is about. We're going to be looking at mac and cheese. Who doesn't like creamy orange mac
my
and
favorite.
cheese, right? But it's actually not cheese. So what are we going to be using today? Tell us about it.
So to make up our cheddar cheese, which is typically what a traditional noodle mac and cheese is doused in, we are using butternut squash as our nice base of an orange rich flavor. And then to cream it up, we've got rice milk, we've got tahini, and miso. Those three ingredients together is what's making our cheese sauce. And then to add that little bit of zest and saltiness to it, we've got something called nutritional yeast, which, you know, for a lot of people who aren't eating any dairy or any animal sourced cheeses or milks or whatever it might be, this adds that sourness, that cheesiness, that saltiness, that savory missing ingredient that some people are, you know, missing when they take the cheese out.
It is like my best friend when you go dairy-free,
Yeah.
right? I mean, you know, broccoli and cheese sauce, it's like you can't have that when
Exactly.
you're dairy-free. You make a cheese sauce with this, it is like to die for.
This
It's
sauce
so good.
can be used as a broccoli and cheese
Oh, amazing.
sauce. So
there you go.
there you go.
Perfect.
So then we have something called arrowroot powder, which is going to bind our sauce and make it really kind of sticky and gooey and give it that kind of gooiness that we're looking for. And then a couple of herbs and spices just to kind of kick up the flavor and bring it all together, and some lemon juice as well.
Amazing.
So that all gets blended in the blender. And poured on our cooked brown rice noodles, gluten-free.
Awesome. And
Yeah.
any type of brown rice noodle. Do you have any tips on that? Or
Yeah,
whatever
you know
they
what?
can
There's
find?
2 or 3 common companies that kind of dominate the market, and I tend to use them the most. So the tip, really, my cooking pasta tip, is to bring your water to a boil, add your pasta in, let it come back up to a slow boil, then turn off the heat, close the lid, and let it sit for 15 minutes. Then you'll end up with perfect pasta. So that
Amazing.
means don't touch it, don't stir it, don't do anything to it, and you'll end up with a perfect noodle.
And this is such a good tip because I find when people first switch over to a brown rice pasta,
Yeah.
usually they're saying to me, Brie, oh my gosh, you know, I tried it and it comes out and it's sticky and goopy
Yep.
and it just really didn't work out. So when you cook it this way, you're going to have perfect pasta every time.
Absolutely,
Which is,
for
which is
sure.
great. Okay, let's
Good.
get cooking. What are
Let's
we
get
doing
cooking.
here?
Okay, so we've got a Vitamix blender that we're going to use as our base blender to add everything into. So I'm going to take my squash, which we have just chopped up and steamed. You can roast it in the oven as well too. So it depends on what you're looking for. But when you roast it, you're going to get a little bit of a kind of a chewy, nutty, kind of earthy flavor to it. So it's a nice option. More
Okay.
rustic, more of a rustic mac and cheese.
Yeah.
So I'm going to add in
Rustic.
my squash. And another tip too is you don't have to add all of it in the base. We can leave some of this and put chunks of squash into it, especially for kids or you know, just for texture. So I've done that before too, just to add it back in and just give that mac and
Yes.
cheese. I know that doesn't totally mimic the traditional mac and cheese, but whatever. We're taking things.
Yeah, exactly.
We're taking things out of context
We're taking
here.
things to a new level.
We're taking things to a new level. So
And I was going to say too, you mentioned in the story in the book that you had, I think it was your cousins or somebody try this and they were totally fooled and they loved it. So
Absolutely.
good for kids too. We love
absolutely
that.
great for kids and totally safe. There's no trace of nuts in it. It's gluten-free, it's dairy-free. It really covers all the bases, so
Perfect.
it's easy. Okay, so we've got some rice milk going in.
Awesome.
That's next. Then some nutritional yeast. Then we've got I'm going to put the tahini in next. So tahini is ground up sesame seeds, so sesame seed paste. So this is what's going to make it, as I said, a little bit stickier, and it also is going to add a little bit of calcium and protein into it too. So tahini is very, very good for us.
Great.
And
since we're not putting the dairy in there, we're getting the calcium from the tahini,
Exactly,
which is
exactly.
fantastic. A really good source of calcium.
100%. And then we've got miso paste. So typically miso is in miso soup, which most people have had, but often in restaurants it's the dehydrated powdered form, which is not so nutritionally dense. This is extremely nutritionally dense, and it's fermented. So it's a fermented food. So we're adding some good probiotics into our sauce, and it's got that salty richness. So it's gonna just help boost up our cheese. So that's going in. Then our arrowroot powder to bind it, and then some lemon juice. Just about a tablespoon of that going in. This is all going in.
Awesome.
And then the fun part is we're gonna blend it. So, put that in. We're done. All right, so we've got our...
This looks so cheesy.
This looks so cheesy.
How would you not know
So that looks
was
like...
not cheese. I mean, that looks like cheese to me.
It does look like cheese, and...
It actually looks like cheese that's unhealthy for me, which
I
is
know.
kind of fun.
The cheddar cheese.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna grab my cheese, put it into the pot. So now we've got this nice...
Oh my gosh, this looks so good.
Creamy mac and cheese that I'm gonna, should we put the squash in? The extra squash in?
Yes, let's add it in for
So
sure.
just so you guys can see that this is just a little bonus idea.
Better.
Just to put it in. And we can mix that up.
Oh my gosh, Marni, you're blowing my mind.
Now this is done as is, can be eaten right out of the pot. However, the next step is to put it into a baking dish, and you can bake it in the oven and then you top it with some sprouted breadcrumbs or gluten-free breadcrumbs, or you can make your own creative topping. You can do ground up almond, and then you kind of get that traditional baked mac and cheese feel. So I'm gonna put that. Oops, I'm gonna put that into our bowl. So there you have our baking dish. Gorgeous mac and cheese.
Oh my gosh, don't you just love her? This looks so incredible, like absolutely amazing. I cannot wait to dive in and give this a try. Thank you so much for watching, and Marni, thank you so much for taking the time to share this recipe with all of us. I know you're absolutely going to love it. If you have a chance, where can they find out more about you?
MarniWasserman.com. Marni with an I.
And please, if you're in Toronto or if you're from Toronto, come on by and check out one of her amazing cooking courses at the Food Studio and Lifestyle Shop. And definitely you want to pick up one of her books and start getting those healthy bacteria into your system. Absolutely. Again, thanks so much for watching. Brianna Santoro from The Naked Label. We'll see you later.
Bye.